Hello, good morning, good afternoon to everybody who's present. Everybody's welcome to the question and answer session about open call for collaborative projects, which will be part of the Brazil United Kingdom Year of Culture 2025-2026. My name is Evie Borakis. I'm head of the Brazil UK Year of Culture at the British Culture, and I'll be leading today's session alongside my colleague Rafael Ferraz, head of arts at the British Council Brazil, and Tom Birthwhistle will do the opening words. Amanda Alves will also be joining us in this session, helping curate your questions. As for accessibility purposes, I'm a white woman, I have short hair, and I wear glasses, and I'm wearing a colorful top. The objective today is to give you the details of the open call and answer address questions, providing as much clarity as possible. I'd like to share some guidelines on questions and participation. Please submit your questions at any point through the question and answer Q&A box. In addition to the question, please mention your name, country, and organization you represent. We recommend that you avoid sharing personal data during the session. We will address as many questions as possible orally. However, the questions that we do not have time to address will be answered and included in a FAQ form that will be included in the call regulations for later conference. Our commitment is to ensure a positive experience for everyone, in line and compliant to the British Council safeguarding policy. We also kindly ask that questions are asked in a respectful manner and constructive manner. All your input are extremely valuable to us, and we seek to create an open, inclusive, and collaborative environment. Now, about the session. The session will be run in Portuguese, but there is simultaneous interpretation into English. To access it, click on the interpretation globe located on the bottom right corner of your screen and select English option. The expected duration of the session is 1 hour. This session is being recorded and it will be available in Portuguese and English on the British Council YouTube channel. And we'll also have sign language available for the recording. Now, to open this session, I would like to invite the Director of British Council in Brazil, Tom Birthwhistle, for opening remarks. We thank you and hope you have a wonderful session. Thank you. Tom, the floor is yours. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I am Tom, Director of the British Council in Brazil, and I am part of the team who are organizing the Year of Culture. I'm a white man, no hair. I'm wearing a white shirt and a black jacket. In a couple of minutes, my colleague Rafael will accept what the Year of Culture concept is. He will give you more details. But for now, I just would like to tell you a bit more about the central or key objectives of this initiative. First and foremost, we know how key culture is and how core it is for the life of our two countries. We also know that people in Brazil and in the UK are passionate for pretty much the same things. But the culture knowledge of both countries could become stronger. In that sense, we would like to support artistic communities from both countries and do what is natural for you, to collaborate and create together. And that what is open call is all about. It is an opportunity to develop new work, new projects that have British and Brazilian creativity in its DNA. I hope the Year of Culture concept can offer you lots of creative space to further explore. We are looking forward to find new perspectives on major questions and issues that are raised. What I also would like to add is that you think where your projects will be displayed, because we really hope that all stakeholders in Brazil and the UK can join, can connect to the work you produce. Ultimately, thank you so much for your interest, and we hope many of you apply. Good luck and goodbye. Now I'll pass the floor, Rafael Ferraz. Thank you, Tom. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon and good morning. This is good afternoon for those in the UK. I am Rafael Ferraz. I am head of culture and arts in Brazil. I am a brown man. I've got a beard. I wear glasses. My shirt is light pink. I think it's important to emphasize and contextualize, giving you a bit of background as to what British Council is the International UK Cultural Centre for International Relations. And the Year of Culture Brazil UK is a bilateral initiative run by the British Council plus Guimarães Rosa Institute, the Brazilian government body responsible for cultural diplomacy. Now, to strengthen the cultural ties between UK and Brazil. Now, the planned activities will take place in June 30, 2026 in Brazil and the UK, with the purpose of growing the cultural sector in both countries. We're inviting organizations from both countries to be part of this open call, contributing to a program of cultural activities that are vibrant and meaningful, and then can represent the best of creativity diversity of both countries. Just like Tom mentioned, I would like to expand the key objectives of the Year of Culture is to promote and foster sustainable development, democratization, and decentralization of access to culture in the Year of Culture, meaning to bring offers and opportunities to beyond mainstream. We also wish to bring partnerships, solid ties, and long lasting among professionals, artists, and cultural institutions in Brazil and the UK, and they can also do beyond just cultural projects. About the open call specifically, the objectives are to promote new connections, exchange long-term collaborations through artistic projects, through selected projects. So respect innovative cultural and social issues through artistic collaborations and provide opportunities for different cultural expressions from the UK and Brazil. It is also important to highlight that all projects selected will be part of the official project program for the Year of Culture Brazil UK. Next slide, please. Now I'm going to cover the main concept and theme pillars of the Year of Culture. We will look at culture. The project aims to project a look into the future, exploring how the arts and human creativity can shape our future and respond to challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, especially creating opportunities and solutions for our future. And it's after the urgency of thinking about our presence in the planet and the idea that on Earth everything is moving, is dynamic. So with the flux of people, nature, and everything else sets the pace of life, we get to the concept of flows as the core concept for Year of Culture. So the idea is to explore how these multiple elements shape our cultures and drive our creativity. Besides the concepts, the program will also be supported on 5 main pillars that will direct the curatorship, but also help with the selection of the open call. So we do culture and climate, culture and place, culture and technologies, thinking about new approaches to solve issues. And culture and technology specifically is how we are immersive in a territory and how a place can give the potential development, creative development, and also urban planning for sustainable progress. The next pillar is culture and voices. Basically, it's about diversity and representation. So open up to diverse voices and give visibility to groups who historically are underrepresented. Culture and technology is the fourth pillar, but previously I meant culture and joy. It's our experience with technology and how they impact creative process, the opportunities and challenges of new media and AI. But we also wanted to approach other technologies that come from other areas of knowledge that can offer old solutions to new challenges. And finally, culture and joy. We believe that besides the activist and resistant kind of feature in culture, obviously it's very important, we also want to celebrate collectively, and we want to highlight joy through shared cultural expressions, how that can strengthen cultural identity and community feeling with experience of popular expressions such as carnival. Like I said, all these theme topics guide the curatorship and inspire you in designing your projects. So it is fundamental that all your proposals are aligned to at least one of these pillars. Effie, I'll pass the floor back to you. Next slide, thank you. Now, we're going to talk about the actual open call, meaning who is eligible to apply. The call is open to a wide range of organizations in Brazil and in the UK, and it has no restrictions as to size, meaning this includes institutions such as festivals, museums, theaters, communities, arts organizations, cultural institutions, among others. In the UK, artists can also join. However, it is essential that all registered projects involve at least one partnership between a partner from Brazil and a partner from the UK. So here are the details. So the first phase, what is necessary? It is necessary that the lead partners agree where the project will be delivered, meaning where it will take place. So for example, for projects delivered in Brazil, application and contract must be done through a Brazilian nonprofit organization. This is actually a compulsory point, so you must include a UK partner in this collaboration. For projects carried out in the UK, the lead partner must be a nonprofit organization or a UK registered arts professional. All individual applications are permitted in the UK only. For projects carried out in both countries, so we can have 50-50, so to speak, the registration must be done by a nonprofit organization. And why? Because of the legal entity in Brazil enables us to sign contracts with nonprofit organizations. There are some questions that have reached us. For example, can we register projects in partnerships with institutions that are not in the cultural or for-profit sector? The main proponents must be a nonprofit organization, especially in Brazil. So it is possible. However, if it's in the UK, it is desirable that it is with this kind of partnerships. Can organizations that have previously participated in other British Council or IGR program, can they reapply? Yes. The open call is open and available to all, including to those who have already applied to previous British Council programs. Just need to be very clear as to where the delivery will take place. Next slide, thank you. Thank you. So now let's cover the eligibility criteria. Let's first talk about partnership. In order to apply, it is mandatory to have at least one partner in Brazil and one partner in the UK. The partnership must be formalized through a partnership letter that is available to download in the British Council website, available in English and in Portuguese. The letter must be signed and sent in the field of the registration form. Some questions that have reached us, we've been asked, can I apply without a partner in Brazil or UK? No. This is a collaborative project between Brazil and UK. Therefore, it is essential, mandatory, that the project includes a partnership between organizations from both countries. Furthermore, it is necessary to attach the partnership letter. What happens if we don't get a partner before the application deadline? Unfortunately, it won't be possible to apply or register without a formalized partnership before the deadline, meaning the presence of a partner and submission of the letter are mandatory requirements for eligibility. Is there any support or guidance for finding partners in Brazil or the UK? Yes, if you need support identifying and finding partners in UK or Brazil, we recommend contacting us via email available on the program's official website. By the way, we will share the link. The other question, is it possible to apply the project without a formal partnership and submit the letter at a later date? No. The partnership letter is mandatory and must be included at the registration. This requirement ensures that projects have collaborations established and aligned from the beginning, strengthening the cultural impact and meeting the objectives of the open call. Now, about the format, delivery format. We accept projects from all artistic languages, including interdisciplinary projects. It is also important to consider the inclusion of underrepresented groups, such as people of different genders, with accessibility needs, or belonging to minorities, to make the project more inclusive. What artistic languages are accepted in the school? All artistic languages are accepted with no restrictions to ensure that no type of expression is left out. All are welcome, especially interdisciplinary projects. Now, what kind of project can we do? It can be in person, digital, or hybrid. Now, for the in-person format, that involves activities carried out in person, allowing direct interaction between artists, partners, and the audience. This format is ideal for immersive experiences such as performances, exhibitions, or workshops where in-person presence adds unique value. A question that has been asked, is it necessary to specify the location where the project will be delivered? Yes, there is a field within the form detailing planned locations such as cities or cultural spaces or several cities or several spaces. And we decentralize activities and carry them out in different regions of Brazil or in Brazil or in the UK? Sure. Projects that promote regional reach or engagement across multiple locations are also encouraged. And we would like to always decentralize, meaning give opportunity to other regions in the UK and different regions in Brazil. Now, if initially we plan an in-person format, can we adapt to digital or hybrid later? If your project is indeed selected, any changes to the format must be previously discussed and approved by the program team. Should the hybrid format necessarily include simultaneous face-to-face and digital elements? Yes, the hybrid format requires in-person and digital elements to happen simultaneously, meaning that activities must be planned to integrate both formats in a coordinated manner, expanding the reach and ensuring both in-person and remote participation. Thank you, Effie. Next slide. Now I'll cover the grants of this open call. What are the grants available? We have two tracks. Grant tracks as to the type of project. The one is 50,000 British pounds or 364,000 real. This is according to today's exchange rate. And these resources to support focused projects, usually led by smaller and younger um, groups with not as much experience with international experiences. So the idea is to seek to explore the one single thematic pillar of the program, and they should aim to create a significant impact without demanding resources beyond the organization's capacity. And they wish, and also proposals that wish to build connections and initial connections and strengthen partnerships between Brazil and the UK. There's also the possibility of including in your project a planning visit, depending on the nature of your proposal and project, and when and how it will be delivered. So the idea is for in-person or hybrid projects, and planning visit prior to implementation is suggested, such as meeting with local partners in the delivered country, in the idea of scouting for places, finding places and location, also for logistical adjustments that will ensure the viability of the project. Now, the criteria for the planning visits is that it must be carried out by a single one person and be clearly justified in the project budget. The second part as to the grant is 100,000 British pounds or 729,000 Brazilian real. And the aim is to finance projects of greater scale and complexity led by organizations with experience in international collaborations and plus the ability to manage broad and multifaceted initiatives. Now, this grant range is ideal for proposals that seek to explore multiple thematic pillars or a single pillar multiplier, and having the objective of generating a broad and lasting impact with results that benefit different communities and audiences. And they should also include communication strategies that are consistent to help impact engagement in person and in the digital. Now, the planning visits are also allowed in this track, in this range, this grant change, and we suggest that the planning visit takes place before the implementation following the criteria. Local meetings with local partners, recognition of spaces where the activities will take place, as well as operational visits and meetings. We suggest that take place only with the one team member, and they must be fully justified in the project and properly reflected on the budget. I think, thank you, Rafa. Next slide, please. Now we'll cover the selection criteria. I think they are very, very important indeed. Actually, there are three criteria. One is objectives, activities, and feasibility. So that's viability, 40%. That is what is that is 40 percentage point. And then the next is partnership, contribution, and legacy, and the innovation, diversity, and sustainability, 20%, adding 40, 40, 20, we have 100%. So what will be assessed? What we'll be evaluating these categories focus in the planning and the delivery of the projects. And so planning execution, what are we evaluating? Alignment with the objectives of the goal. So we wish to see how projects connect to the 5 thematic pillars of the program, or at least one, depending on the grants that you apply for. Ensure that your project contributes to the overall goals of the UK-Brazil Year of Culture. Thematic focus and alignment, this is very important, but the project needs to demonstrate a clear and well-developed approach to the chosen topic, meaning at every topic, 10% would be considered for every topic. Now, the feasibility of activities and projects, so we can assess whether what was planned is realistic, both in terms of execution and expected results. So the feasibility of the schedule and budget, that is essential that the project is financially viable and that the schedule is carried out within the stipulated deadlines. So projects with unclear deadlines or costs will find difficulty in advancing in the selection process. Now, as for partnerships, contribution, and legacy, that's worth 40% of all the points. In this category, we'll be evaluating the strength of proposed partnerships and projects' impact on the public and community. Some key points: the strength and relevance of the partnership, because the project must demonstrate how collaboration between Brazil and the UK will add value to the initiative. Strategic partnerships are essential to the success of the proposal. Impact on the community and audience, meaning how will the project create a positive and significant impact, whether through local, national, or international outreach. We wish to see clear connection with benefiting audiences. Long-term sustainability, also very important, so that the project leaves a legacy, such as a lasting partnership or ongoing impact on the communities, and documentation and sharing of results. That really is a very important part because we want the impacts of the project to be well documented and publicized, expanding its reach and learning. And also innovation, diversity, and sustainability. Finally, this category evaluates the most creative, inclusive, and innovative aspects of the project, with innovative approach where we're looking for proposals that present new, original ideas or that challenge traditional approaches, promoting equity, diversity, and inclusion. We want projects that include and give space to underrepresented voices, promoting the inclusion of different communities. Environmental sustainability. It is important that projects consider the practices that minimize environmental impact and promote awareness on the topic, and accessibility and engagement with diverse audiences. Projects that are accessible to different audiences and that engage different communities will be more relevant. It's also important to mention that all projects of all grant tracks must demonstrate a strong alignment with the program's thematic pillars, culture, climate, and it is important to highlight culture and how arts and creativity can help with contemporary debates and connect communities, fostering diversity and promoting innovative solutions. Now, final considerations. It is very important before we start the Q&A, we're going to open up the floor. There is a guideline form that you can download on the British Council website. It's available in Portuguese and in English. By the way, all documentation is fully available on the website. There is also a frequently asked question document about the open call that you can also download. All questions will be addressed by January 5th, meaning we have 48 to 52 hours to address questions. But by January 1st, it will no longer be possible to provide additional answers, okay? And all information, if you have any questions, please email us so we can address your issues. Now, let's move to the Q&A. Thank you. I think most questions are about the nature of organizations that can apply. Very much about that. And also legal entities, questions. Maybe we can highlight and go back to eligibility criteria of the open call. Who can apply on the Brazilian and British side? Now, as to legal nature of the British Council Brazil, the contract necessarily needs to be with a non-profit organization, with the legal entity fully formed, and the description in the social contract must include some sort of artistic or cultural activity, individual applications, or non-profits, for-profit Legal entities for organizations cannot apply, unfortunately, if the activity takes place in Brazil. However, if the main activity and results presentation takes place in the UK, in organizations in general, cultural organizations, professional organizations, individual artists who are duly registered in UK can apply. Okay, the contract will take place in the UK. Then the contract will be from the UK, not from Brazil. Now, I'm going to start reading out some questions. We have several questions popping up here. Let's see here. We have the one question from Mateus. He says, I understand that non-profit organizations can receive the grant. Do they have to be the main proponent? Yes. The answer is yes. By the way, I find it very important to highlight that the first question is, where will the project be delivered? Well, if the project takes place in Brazil, the proponent must be a non-profit organization. Is it necessary that that is written at the registration application? Yes, there will be a question about that. We will get the legal entity number. That question is actually part of the application. Can we include that later? I don't understand what you mean with that question, but I'm thinking if you can apply as a non-profit organization and at a later date, be connected to this other organization. I'm thinking this question can be better worded, better elaborated. I'll let Rafael get this one. What I understand from the question is that if the proposal can be submitted by a for-profit organization, then at a later date, they can connect to a non-profit to a non-profit. The answer is no. When you apply, you will have to define who the proponent is and include legal information, and that includes the legal entity, their number, and that needs to be non-profit, and that will be checked at the time of application. So, Mateus, if I understand the question correctly, the answer is no, okay? There's the one question from the UK. No, the partnership can be completely new, meaning we encourage new partnerships, meaning it is very important, or existing partnerships. It is very important that because we're open to new partnerships. Look, if there's a history of collaboration and this opportunity is convenient for a new project, development, etc., so surely existing partnerships can turn into a proposal, but as well as new partnerships by new mapping out new projects, new partnerships. It's an interesting question here that a lot of people must want to know. If the organization can be involved in more than one project, more than one application, yes. The one organization in Brazil and two organizations in the UK also can apply, can be present in several projects. Yes, it depends as to how the project will be delivered. That's why the question is, where will your project be delivered? So that's why we ask. Is there limitations to number of partners? No. In the letters can be submitted in Portuguese or in English. Again, where the project will be delivered, the application, the proponent will answer in his own language, meaning or her own language. So if the project is going to be delivered in Brazil, application will be in Portuguese. So use the Portuguese form, and the letter will have them in Portuguese for download for the partnership to be signed. Surely the number of partners should reflect consistency and coherence with the project. So it's not about connecting to several partners or professionals organizations that can be beneficial to the project, but it must make sense and relate to the project, meaning it can't just be making it more robust. It has to make sense as to what you're trying to deliver. There's a question about universities. Yes, universities can be partners. By the way, several universities in UK and Brazil are willing to join. As long as they are a legal entity, a non-profit legal entity, it's okay. Some colleges have foundations. Some universities have they are the executive arms of universities or colleges that are for profit, but they have non-profit organizations in their holding, so to speak, so they can be a partner. We have other questions here popping up. Can an institutional individual be part of more than one project? In the UK, an individual, an artist practitioner can apply as the main proponent. And again, the question will be asked, where will your project be delivered? But the answer is yes. And the next question is UK organizations, they call a group of artists in Brazil, can they make a partnership? Yes, absolutely. If they have Brazilians in it, yes. There is the one question that I'm going to read in English. I don't know if I understand the question, but anyway, I'm thinking about the implementation. Yes, one can include section C as results of the answer. Yes. Is there minimum exist? Should the legal entity be formed at a minimum amount of time, or can it be a new or old entity? No, it's fine if you're younger. New organization doesn't really make a difference. The usually younger organization will apply for the lower grant track. Please check in the regulation, but you'll see it will be more suitable. Based on this question, how can we decide if we apply in the budget of 50 or 100,000? How do we decide if we should apply for 150 or 100,000? Can we write two different scopes of the new project? One version that can be done in 50, the other can be done in 100,000. Look, I would say that it is allowed, but I'm thinking should find the ideal spot for your project. Meaning, if you can adequate the format and the deliveries, if you can make it more suitable, etc. But I believe there is an ideal format for your actual idea. Now, thinking for evaluation purposes, I ask you that you submit your best proposal as to your perspective, proponent's perspective. What do you think is best? There's a question about it's not we kind about partners. If the partner if the proposal has in-kind, yes, to improve the scope, etc. Yes. The partnership letter, should it be between artists living in Brazil and partners living in UK? Yes, it is very important because all partners involved should be aware of their responsibility. Yes, it's important to mention, now going back to our previous question, that if you have more than one partner involved in the project, directly involved, and it's a consistent participation, and you mentioned them as a direct partner, you also need awareness or approval letters from these partners. There is a question from the UK. Yes, this is very interesting. Universities are considered non-profit, so the answer is yes. An open call is as to the runtime. So it's quite open because the idea is that all proponents, all projects are collaborative, and then hopefully they have a longer time to plan and for the planning visits, etc. But the idea is that begin next year, and the idea is June 2026. So ideally, the delivery starts in August 2025, all the way to June 2026. So this is the timeline for the whole run time. There's another question here by Katya from FGV. She's asking if it's possible to speak about exchange of artists and challenges. Yes, research projects can be done. That it has cultural, artistic aspects, but we think we should also include in the proposal components for delivery, for presentations, exhibitions, if they are concluded if the proposal, if the research is concluded within this time frame, you should include the presentation, exhibition, and results showcase of your research. Yes. There's an interesting question. Here they're asking if the artistic organization can apply for additional resources or additional grants, meaning beyond what we have. Can they actually join resources from other sources? Yes, you can. Mind you, it is important to include that in your budget, in your spreadsheet, and explain where other resources will come from, but it's very much welcome. Yes, if there's a composition of resources, or if you predict to have additional resources, it is important that the proposal inform that, and it should bring what the grant from this open call will cover, what are the main elements of this project, and also give an overview as to what the project is overall, and the overall amount, so we understand our contribution and how it can be executed with our grant combined with other resources. There's an interesting question about the main requirements. Can we further explain if all projects will depend on simultaneous interpretation or translation of some sort for communication purposes and understanding of the audience on? Yes, that is essential, mind you, that should you have partners do not speak each other languages or have any kind of difficulties, it is absolutely essential to include interpretation translation services in your spreadsheet. By the way, in Brazil, there is a major language barrier, and we wish to be inclusive in our approach for all the projects for this open call. So yes, we need to ensure that communication is horizontal and flow and reaches all stakeholders, not only during organization and planning, but also during the delivery. There is a question about the runtime. Like explained, it's flexible. Ideally, deliveries are in August 2025 all the way to June 30th, 2026. There are so many questions. You have been asking so many questions. I'm trying to find non-repetitive points here to ask. What does delivery mean? Meaning where the project will be delivered, take place, carried out. Meaning if we have the one group with hybrid content, with the creation in Brazil, does that count as Brazil? It is hybrid, and it will be hybrid when we in person and online delivery. So you can do a webinar or some sort of online event, as well as an in-person event, meaning this is what we count as hybrid. Exactly, and the in-person element is that actually will define where the project will be carried out. So if your project is hybrid and there's the actual in-person element takes place in Brazil, so the proponent needs to be a Brazilian organization because the in-person part takes place in Brazil, you see? Exactly, exactly. Amanda will make the link available on the chat. There is a link available in Portuguese and in English. Applications Manager are in both languages, Portuguese and English. So all information there, document, application, everything available for download in both languages. Please read the term, the guideline term or reference term, we call it. All points about everything about the project you'll find there. And all step-by-step questions that may come up most likely are there. But if you have other questions, please shoot us an email. Now, the planning visits should be included in the overall budget. Yes, it should. If you plan, it's not compulsory, it's a suggestion, but yes, the answer is yes. And it can't be additional funding request. It can't be an additional funding request to the line to Guimarães Rosa or the British Council. What you can do is that you can find resources elsewhere. So you need to look at your budget very carefully, and you may combine resources from other sources, but we do not intend to offer independent or additional grants for planning visits, okay? There's an interesting question here about the themes, the pillar themes. If small projects can have more than one pillar. I'm sorry, I'm getting my words crossed here. So again, you can approach more than one pillar. We find it very interesting, mind you, that more than one pillar, the more one theme pillar is actually encompassed in your project. For lower grants, the alignment at least at least one of the theme pillars. But surely, if your proposal has intends to get a smaller budget, then you can do more than one, and that makes sense. It can be coherent and feasible. There's a question about the 50 and 100,000. Is 100,000 top grants possible? Yes, no more than 100,000. This Q&A webinar, is it available? Is it being recorded? Will it be available later date? Yes, it will be recorded, and this session will be available on the Brazil British Council YouTube channel. And we will send you the link, the YouTube link, so you can access it later. Now the email. to request to find partners. It's the same email I shared previously, meaning we suggest partners. We'll try and find the most comprehensive list as possible. This is one of the hardest questions, how to find a partner in this other country, right? If you're a new proponent, but that is the idea, to help you find partners in the other country. Also, there's extensive deadline for application, 2 months of application time, exactly for that reason, so proponents can map out and find and study their partners and find who would be the most ideal partner. So it is important to mention that we cannot recommend, we're not going to make any referrals or recommendations. That's also due to compliance reasons. So we're not going to recommend anyone. We'll just give you what we can do is links, is web pages on the website that you can do your own research. And if you want to ask questions, surely fine, but we won't recommend or refer anyone specifically. There's an interesting question about plays, theatrical plays. Is it a number of days or plays that we should, or shows that we should put up? No, we do not interfere in the number of sessions or that you can perform. What do you expect from a YouTube video? 2-minute explanation or image of the two organizations? It's very much a brief explanation as to what your understanding is. How will the project be selected? Why should your project be selected? It's very much freestyle, meaning if you want to include reference images or images of our previous projects that your organization um, made, all that is for track record reasons is all very valid. The idea is for you to use the video as a tool to better explain and in a more eloquent and clear manner to explain and showcase beyond the text, because the text is rather cold, so you have the opportunity to also showcase your project on the video. And you can include all audiovisual resources that you wish. By the way, it's very important. All applications must be done in Portuguese and English. Again, it depends where it will be delivered. If it's delivered in Brazil or hybrid or UK and Brazil, it will be done in Portuguese. If it's going to take place in the UK only, it will be done in English. Deadline will be not extended. There is the application time, and we already have the timeline set out. So no, do not count on any extensions at all. Please apply as early as possible. Map out your potential partners, run meetings, visits, develop your proposal. We're giving 2 months for application planning and submission. Do not leave it for the last minute. So this is our best advice. Do not leave it for last minute or last week. Do plan ahead, anticipate, because there will be no extension of application time. Can public institutions apply? Surely, but a non-profit organization that has a legal entity number must be a partner. It can be a government trade association, for example. If you can prove this connection with this association, it's okay. But it needs to be as a legal entity, and it must be stated that it's a non-profit. Can it be done in 2 steps, in 2 stages? Yes, it can. We are receiving so many questions, and our time is nearly up. We'll answer all questions. All questions will be addressed. We'll create an FAQ that will be it will be made available. There are other questions that we received here, but I would like to thank everybody who joined us today. Thank you for your time. Thank you very much indeed. Rafa, any closing words? Or Tom, would you like to any closing words? But I want to thank you everybody for attending. I just want to thank you as well. Thank you for joining, for attending, for your time, for your interest. We're very happy to have you join us. Thank you for submitting your questions, for your interest. We'll address all of them will be fully addressed. The questions will and answers will be available on the FAQ. The FAQ is already available for download and will be updated. By the way, this session is being recorded and will be available on the YouTube channel. It will be available in Portuguese and in English on the YouTube channel, so you can listen to later and will be available throughout the process until January 5th. Count on us. So do submit your questions via email. Amanda shared the email, so don't leave it until last minute. We won't have the means to answer by January 5th. So submit your questions, they're all welcome. And we want questions and answers to and projects and applications to be fully elaborated. As for questions, we will try to address the norm, and I repeat, the deadline will not be extended. Everybody, thank you. Good afternoon, good morning, good day to everybody for those in the UK and in Brazil. And we wish everybody good luck with their application. Enjoy the work. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye. Thank you.